Hello, I am Parag Nandu, a second year medical student, and today I would like to conduct musculoskeletal examination. Is it fine with you?
Okay.
Okay, so before we begin the complete shoulder examination by inspecting the shoulder and shoulder girdle anteriorly. Then inspect the scapulae and related muscles posteriorly. During both inspections, note any swelling, deformity, muscle atrophy, or fine tremors of the muscles. Palpate for tenderness at the sternoclavicular joint, tracing the clavicle laterally with your fingers. From behind, follow the bony spine of the scapula laterally and upward until it becomes the acromion, which is the summit of the shoulder. From here, palpate the acromioclavicular joint, and from here we move down to the coracoid process of the scapula. Palpate the greater tubercle and the biceps tendon in the intertubercular groove, checking for tenderness. Also, lift the humerus posteriorly so you can palpate over the subacromial bursa and the subdeltoid bursa and the underlying palpable SITS muscles, which include the supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and subscapularis. To evaluate range of motion of the shoulders, ask the patient to perform the 6 motions of the shoulder girdle. So now we'll be testing the range of motion. So first I'll be testing for flexion. So raise your arm in front. Okay. Now raise your arm over the head. Okay, fine. You can take it down. Now we'll be testing for extension. Can you please move the arm behind? Okay, fine. Thank you. Now I'll be checking for abduction. Can you please move the arm to the side? Can you move it over your head? Okay, fine. Move it down. Now I'll be testing for adduction. Can you please cross your arm around the body? Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay. Now we'll be testing the internal rotation. Can you please move your arm behind and try to touch your shoulder blade?
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. You can take it away. Now I'll be testing for external rotation. Can you move your arm to the side? Bend your elbow. Okay, and rotate it towards the ceiling. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Now we'll be doing the cross adduction test. Uh, can you please raise your arm towards the front? Okay, and towards the side. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay. Now we'll be doing the Epley scratch test. Can you try to touch the shoulder blade with one arm from the top and other arm from the behind? Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay, fine. Now I'll be doing the knees test. For that, we have to first support the patient's scapula and make it stable. Then extend your hand. and take it to the maximum extension. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Also, we have to hear for the crepitus or any cracking sound. None is here. Now I'll be demonstrating the Hawkins-Kennedy test. For this test, raise the patient's hand at 90-degree angle and support it with one hand. Now with the other hand, stabilize the scapula and rotate internally at the glenohumeral joint. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay. Now I'll be demonstrating the drop arm test. For this test, abduct the patient's hand and give a passive rotation. Ask the patient to hold this position for a while. Please hold this position for a while. This test is considered positive if the patient is not able to control the downfall movement. Now I'll be demonstrating the empty can test. For this, can you please raise your arms in front at a 90-degree angle? Okay. Now turn the arms inward. Now restrict me from moving the arms outside. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay. Observe the position of the hands in motion to see if the movements are smooth and natural. When fingers are relaxed, they should be slightly flexed. Inspect the patient's wrists and hands, noting any swellings over the joint, as well as any deformities or angulation. Observe the contours of the palm, namely the thenar and hypothenar eminences. Note any thickenings of the tendons or fingers. Palpate the distal radius and ulna on the lateral and medial surfaces of the wrist. Palpate the radiostyloid bone and the anatomical snuff box. Pain while palpating the anatomical snuff box indicates the scaphoid fracture. Palpate over the 8 carpal bones lying distal to the wrist joint and then each metacarpal phalangeal joint. Compress the MCP joint by squeezing the hand from each side between the thumb and fingers. Note any tenderness or swelling. Now, palpate the medial and lateral aspects of each of the proximal interphalangeal joints or the PIP between the thumb and index finger, noting any swelling or bony enlargement or tenderness. Bony nodules at the PIP joints or the Bouchard's nodes are common in osteoarthritis. They are benign. Using the same techniques, examine the DIP joints. Hard dorsolateral nodules on the DIP joints are called the Hubbardin nodes. They are also common in osteoarthritis. Now I'll be testing the range of motion of your wrist. Please raise your hands up with palms facing downwards. Okay. Now I'll be testing for the flexion. So move your fingertips downward. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay. Bring it normal. Now we'll be testing extension. Please raise your fingers towards the ceiling. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay. Bring back to the normal. Now we'll be testing for the adduction. Move your fingers inside. Do you feel anything?
No.
Okay, then normal. Now we'll be testing for abduction. Move your fingers outside. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay, fine. If there are complaints of wrist pain suggesting carpal tunnel syndrome, Test sensation by assessing median nerve in the pulp of the index finger, the ulnar nerve in the pulp of the fifth finger, and the radial nerve in the dorsal web space of the thumb and the index finger. Now we'll be doing the hand grip test. Please hold my two fingers. Loss of grip strength is seen in Dequervain's stenosynovitis, arthritis, and cervical radiculopathy. Close your thumb and wrist. Keep it loose. Finkelstein's test. Make note of any wrist pain with the extension of the wrist towards the midline in ulnar deviation or positive Finkelstein's test for Dequervain's stenosynovitis. So now I'll be doing the thumb abduction test. Keep it loose. I'll be putting a downward pressure and you have to avoid me from doing so. Okay?
Okay.
Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay. Tinel's sign for median nerve compression. Do you feel any tingling pain?
No.
Sensation?
No.
Okay, fine. So now we're doing the Phelan's test. Please move your hands like this. Do you feel any tingling sensation?
No.
Any pain?
No.
Phelan's sign for median nerve compression. We begin the complete knee examination with the patient lying supine on the examining table and his knees in flexion. Inspect the knees, noting their alignment and any deformities. Note loss of the normal hollows around the patella or atrophy of the quadriceps muscles. Then straighten the patient's leg and palpate the suprapatellar patch on each side of the quadriceps, noting any swelling. Palpate the tibiofemoral joint, edge of the tibial plateau, and the margins of the joint. Note any irregular bony ridges. Also, palpate the medial meniscus, then the lateral meniscus. Note for any tenderness, which suggests a partial tear. Also, palpate and identify the medial collateral ligament or the MCL. Assess range of motion of the knee, beginning with flexion and extension. Move it down. One more. No. Okay. Now rotate your leg inwards. Do you feel pain?
No.
Rotate it outwards. Do you feel any pain?
No.
The bulge sign for minor effusions. With the knee extended, place the left hand above the knee and apply pressure on the suprapatellar pouch, displacing or milking fluid downward. Stroke downward on the medial aspect of the knee and apply pressure to force fluid into the lateral area. A fluid wave or bulge on the medial side between the patella and femur is a positive test for effusion. Ballotting the patella for major effusions. To assess large effusions, we can also compress the suprapatellar pouch and ballot or push the patella sharply against the femur. Watch for fluid returning to the suprapatellar pouch as you tap it with your index finger. A palpable fluid wave returning into the pouch is also a positive test for major effusion. A palpable patellar click with compression may also occur. McMurray test. With the patient supine, grasp the heel and flex the knee. Cup your other hand over the knee joint with fingers and thumbs along the medial joint line. From the heel, externally rotate the lower leg. Then push on the lateral side to apply stress on the medial side of the joint. At the same time, slowly extend the lower leg in external rotation. The same maneuver with internal rotation to the foot stresses the lateral meniscus. If a click is felt or heard at the joint line during flexion and extension of the knee, or if tenderness is noted along the joint line, further assess the meniscus for a posterior tear. Abduction or valgus stress test. With the patient supine and the knee slightly flexed, move the thigh about 30 degrees laterally to the side of the table. Place one hand against the lateral knee to stabilize the femur and the other hand around the medial ankle. Push medially against the knee and pull laterally at the ankle to open the knee joint on the medial side. Pain or gap in the medial joint line is a positive test for an MCL injury. Adduction or varus stress test. With the thigh and knee in the same position, change your position so that you can place one hand against the medial surface of the knee and the other around the lateral ankle. Push laterally against the knee and pull medially at the ankle to open the knee joint on the lateral side. Pain or gap in the lateral joint line points is a positive test for LCL injury. Anterior drawer sign. With the patient supine, hips flexed and knees flexed to 90 degrees and feet flat on the table, cup your hands around the knee with the thumbs on the medial and lateral joint line and fingers on the medial and lateral insertion of the hamstrings. Draw the tibia forward and observe if it slides forward like a drawer from under the femur. Lachman test. Place the knee in 15 degrees of flexion and external rotation. Grasp the distal femur on the lateral side with one hand and the proximal tibia on the medial side with the other. With the thumb of the tibial hand on the joint line, simultaneously pull the tibia forward and the femur back. Estimate the degree of forward exertion. Significant forward exertion is a positive test for an ACL tear. Posterior drawer sign. Position the patient and place your hands in the position same as in the anterior drawer test. Push the tibia posteriorly and observe the degree of backward movement in the femur. If the proximal tibia falls back, this is a positive test for PCL injury.